Assalamu alaikum badimolu ngal kontron kabo GRTS alla tara ku koto mollemu benketa Ibrahima insanity anado kunyo kadi jadu juara
ko munta alkamin fo ado to ado mambo molle bo tabar ado mambo
futu karambungo fonsita karambungo.
We're live in Banjul, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. This is GRTS News at 2000 hours, and in our top stories this evening. His Excellency President Adama Barrow launches the Resilience of Organizations for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture project worth $80 million to boost agricultural production in the country. After hours and hours of total internet outage, the second such massive interruption in a week, the Gambia's internet connectivity is back on the global grid. We have the Minister of Information and Technology for a live interview on GRTS News about the cause of the outage. The Independent Electoral Commission meets lawmakers at the National Assembly and the Ministry of Finance to discuss preparations for the elections. Ministry of Children, Gender and Social Welfare observes International Day of Zero Tolerance on FGM. And in sports, the Gambia's under-17 men's football team has been disqualified from the WAFU tournament underway in Senegal by CAF for failing MRI test, according to the African Football Governing Body. GRTS Sports speaks to the General Secretary of GFF about this major development. Protesters in Myanmar stage a fourth day of demonstrations against the military coup and the ousting of the civilian government a week ago. These and other stories coming ahead in the news. I am by Ibrahim Cham. Many thanks for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. We begin this news bulletin with the presidency. As president, His Excellency Adama Barrow has officially launched the Resilience of Organizations for Transformative Smallholder Agricultural Project Roots at a ceremony held at the Sir Dawda Kairaba International Conference Center. The $80 million project seeks to increase agricultural productivity and access to markets for enhanced food security and nutrition. The project will be implemented in 39 districts in the Gambia, with women and youths as the target beneficiaries. Details in this report by Momodu Jallo.
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, arrived at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center for the historic launching of one of the most ambitious agricultural projects this country has ever seen. The Resilience of Organizations for Transformative Smallholder Project, or ROOTS, according to Ibrahim Sisao, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Agriculture, is seen as a game changer in the Gambia's efforts to revolutionize the agricultural sector.
The success of ROOTS project to a large extent depends on the existence of a strong government institutions, specifically the Ministry of Agriculture. We are still convinced with strong collaboration and multitasking, the sector could still sail through successfully. And as a team leader, I'm ready to take that route.
The ROOTS project is jointly funded by government, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, the French Development Agency, the OPEC Fund for International Development, and the Global Environment Facility.
Of this $80 million, IFAD, as the lead donor, is providing grant financing of $17.016 million US. That is 21.3% of the project cost, as well as $4.25 million US as a loan. That is only 5.3% of the project cost. Other financing partners for the routes projects are the AFD, Agency Financing for Development, with a grant of $11.2 million US, that is 14% of the total project cost. OPEC Fund for International Development with a $10 million US loan equivalent to 12.5% of the project cost, and the Global Environment Facility JEP with a $5.3 million US grant, that is 6.6% of the project cost.
According to officials, the project has three main components: targeting rice and vegetable production in 5 regions across the country. This intervention, according to the representative of the UNDP resident coordinator and the IFAD country representative, will significantly reduce poverty and unemployment, especially among women and the youth.
The creation of the Roots project is a clear recognition that policies for effective consolidation of the achievement of the NEMA and previous IFAD projects need strong institutions to ensure their implementation, and that the key aspects of unlocking potential of modern value chain drive progress on SDGs 1 and 2 is de-risking investment in the rural areas.
The project will focus on upscaling NEMA achievement in the rice and vegetable value chain and will give special attention to key issues such as the targeting strategy to reach poor farmers, deepening partnership opportunities, project management, performance and oversight for effective and efficient delivery mechanisms.
The project is the culmination of extensive collaboration between the Ministries of Agriculture and Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources. This collaboration, according to Minister Lamin Diba, will preserve the natural environment and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
The project will invest in ecosystem preservation activities such as rehabilitation of 1,300 hectares of mangroves and 1,400 hectares of community forest. This is in line with the bold challenge that the Gambia should restore over 400,000 hectares of both terrestrial and mangrove ecosystems.
The Minister of Agriculture, Ami Fabure, thanked President Barrow for the leadership and political will that has culminated in the launching of this 6-year project. She expressed hope that the project will positively impact on the agricultural sector in the Gambia by benefiting over 300,000 people, 80% of whom are women.
The overarching goals of the Roots project is to improve food security, nutrition, smallholder farmers resilient to climate change in the Gambia. The project development objectives is to increase agricultural productivity and access to markets for enhanced food security and nutrition.
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, acknowledged agriculture as the backbone of the economy, adding that his government is committed to supporting its development. The Gambian leader therefore challenged women and the youth to take advantage of the project to improve their lives and livelihoods.
I challenge and encourage all hard-working and vibrant women and youth farmers to take full advantage of the opportunities offered by the Roots project as a life-changing vehicle to upgrade their economic status. Aside from the women, the youth of the country have a central role to play in national development. I believe strongly that they hold the key to the future. With their active participation, the national target sets for agricultural growth and our overall development goals have a greater chance of success within their timelines.
With these words, President Barrow officially launched the Roots project, which is expected to build on the successes of the NEMA project, which has significantly improved horticultural production in the country. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS News.
Now, Gambians woke up this morning to another internet blackout, the second such in a week, causing disruption to businesses and other activities. Well, the Submarine Cable Company Limited has issued a press release to explain the cause of the problem, and it reads: the ACE cable link connecting the Gambia to the outside world is down for reasons of a shunt fault and a cable cut at the sea level. This has been impacting on the internet services in the country. The GSC and ACE Cable Consortium has since mobilized a repair ship to repair the damaged part of the cable at sea. The initial expectation was for the repairs and the traffic restoration measures to be complete by the 10th of February 2021. Unfortunately, the country's terrestrial traffic on the part of Senegal went down in the early part of the 9th February 2021, further impacting on the repair works at the sea, causing the disconnection of the communication link between GSC network operating center and the repair ship. Now, both Gamtel and the GSC are addressing the issue through other means for restoring the Gamtel link to Senegal within hours and for the repair measures at the sea level to continue. The GSC, as an effective member of the ACE consortium, has no financial issues with ACE that relates to or has any bearing on the current network disconnection. We apologize for the inconvenience caused. The release concludes. Well, joining us to discuss more on this is the Honorable Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure, Honorable Ibrahim Silla. Welcome to the news.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim.
First of all, Gambians woke up to the news of the second blackout of internet in a week. We have heard the press release from the Gambia Submarine Cable Limited. Now, why is this becoming an occurring theme for the Gambia?
Well, let me say that, yes, indeed, the past 40 days have seen some severe disruption to internet connectivity, especially regarding the submarine cable, which actually connects the Gambia to the rest of the world. It actually had 3 stunt cuts in the last 40 days. As a result, being the only traffic link between the Gambia and the rest of the world, actually, when it was down, everybody would feel it. And this was the case in all the 3 occasions. And unfortunately, anytime the ACE or the Africa Coast to Europe submarine cable is down, which is normally as a result of cuts, by the ocean-going vessels, so fishing trawlers. We use our cross-country cable with Senegal to use it as a backup. Unfortunately, on the 3 occasions that we are talking about, the country experienced some difficulties on this particular cable. As a result, rather than people not feeling or being aware of the cuts on the submarine cable at sea, people became aware because the backbone that we should use, to ride on, also experienced severe difficulties. So as a result, this actually affected connectivity and also voice, because when your ACE cable is down and you are riding on the backbone, as a backup. So what happens is that when that actually has a problem, then it affects both the data and the voice. This is the Sonatel backup link, from Senegal through Karang, Banjul, then to the border in Siliti, and then to Casamas.
Okay. Now, as we speak, the connection is restored. But what is the general situation? Are we talking about a complete diagnosis of the problem, and is the repaired work completed?
Yes, the repaired work, actually was completed in the last 1 hour. The repair work on the submarine cable.
Okay.
The backbone that, the backup that we actually were hoping to use actually did not come, the Sonatel one. So fortunately for us, while we were making an alternative routing, on the Sonatel, cable, the ACE submarine, cable came on because the divers and the workers there actually completed the work. So now, the permanent solution, of course, would be for the Gambia to have a second landing cable, landing site actually, and then also to have alternative backups, rather than depending on the Sonatel one alone, and this will also include the satellite.
Okay.
We are exploring that as a very urgent alternative. We have already tasked the GSM operators and Gamtel, Gamcell, and the ACE consortium, to work on this, and by Friday they should submit a report to me, to actually work on an alternative as an urgent alternative
okay.
to what we have right now, because this is the only solution actually.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is difficult, yes, and it's expensive, but I think, knowing that now almost everybody depends on IT services, and also the over dependence of the population on internet services
Absolutely.
require that we actually, respond with like manner the need to provide a second landing site and also other alternatives to make sure that even when we have a problem, the connection issues the difficulties of connection will not be noticed by the population.
Okay, now that what can this country do to reduce and permanently solve this major issue affecting our internet connectivity?
Well, we can do 3 things. First is to have a second landing site.
Okay.
As an alternative to the ACE, because right now we have only one, submarine cable that connects us to the outside world. But interestingly, we also have a number of submarine cables that actually pass through the west coast of the region. And the committee that was set up to urgently look into this are, in actual fact, in touch with 3 of those, and hopefully they will come up with a solution and also a recommendation to me on Friday. And then my ministry will, of course, have to sit with the critical stakeholders, including the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Trade, to discuss, us joining, another consortium of, a submarine cable provider. The second one, of course, would be, having alternatives that are not dependent on cable, and that will include us having to use satellite as backup, although it may be a bit expensive and also much lower bandwidth when compared to cable, but it will actually solve a number of problems.
Will it be cheaper internet?
Well, naturally, satellites are not that cheap.
Okay.
And in fact, that is why Gambia and Senegal had to go into bilateral to actually, jointly own the cross-country cable, even though Senegal had invested more in that facility than us.
Okay.
So, the third option, of course, would be to look at other cheaper alternatives that will help us have, dependency, non-dependency issues with, some of these, problems that we have. Both solutions may not be that immediate, because they will require us to ensure that we put the necessary investment to have the second landing cable, and if we are to go by satellite, we also have to invest in that. But the third option, which actually is also a good one, and we are looking at that, is that currently in Senegal you have multiple service providers. And the good thing is that from the KRIN to also Senova, we have almost finalized laying the cables so that we can take our pipes all the way to the border and then connect with those service providers, both at KRI and also at Senova. And then we are also revitalizing the Basse Welengara link, so that we can also have the pipe there. So all this, what this will do is that in case our traditional bilateral partner Sonatel has problems, our national ring will be kick-started in a way that we can link up with any of those alternative service providers, and then it is only the technicians who will feel it in the studios where they are working, and then the customers will not feel the downtime.
Okay.
So those things are there, and hopefully by end of next week, the work on the Senova KRI corridor will be completed, and then we will start the necessary discussions with the partners to see who will be most interested to have that as alternative backup. So those things are there. We also want to take this opportunity to apologize to every Gambian particularly, I mean, the business community, I mean, who actually have lost so much, I mean, through this, blackouts, and also the entire internet users that depend on the services to communicate with the rest of the world, to keep up with their families outside of the Gambia, but also within the Gambia, but also, service providers like the GRTS and also other media houses who also use internet services to reach out to the citizenry and the rest of the population.
Thank you very much for your time, Honorable Minister of Information and Communications Infrastructure.
Thank you.
Moving on, the Independent Electoral Commission has engaged the National Assembly Select Committee on Local Government and Lands, the Ombudsman and the IEC. The meeting discussed the proposed increment on the budget allocation to the Electoral Commission in order to meet the estimated expenditure for the upcoming voter registration and other related issues. Here's an excerpt from the meeting by the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Mambu Njai. But first, let's hear from Honorable Yako Majete.
We invited the IEC, the EFPA committee, and the ministry to see what is the best way moving forward. The ministry said they are going to look into this and probably find a way, come up with a solution on what we can do to make sure at least IEC has sufficient amount of money in their budget to at least pay for this contract of voter registration if it is awarded.
The budget that has been submitted is a little bit on the low side. So the purpose of this meeting was to brainstorm as to whether we go for environment or we go for SAP, and that was the bone of contention. Now, what we are doing is to go back, do our homework, and come and then submit it. We will have to consult IEC. But the bottom line, and my whole argument is, every 5 years we have elections. Whatever we are requesting, are they telling me that the Gambian companies cannot do it? Even if a Gambian company cannot do it, Gambian company can partner with an international company and build capacity. That's my whole, and it hurts. This is taxpayers' money. Gambians are paying their taxes. And if anytime we take the money, we ship it outside, those companies coming, they are commercial. They will never hand over that technology to our own guys. So how do we build capacity? So I am insisting that really we go further to, in fact, legislate the local content. We are going further, but we have to have a test case, and that I said we will not compromise quality. Our preference is Gambian companies. If Gambian companies cannot do it, they can partner with international company, and we will insist on the technology and knowledge transfer to the local company. This is the only way we will boost our own companies to make sure they'll be able to compete internationally.
Meanwhile, here's a press release from the IEC which states, "It has come to the notice of the Independent Electoral Commission that a group of individuals referring to itself as Operation No Illegal Voting is illegally conducting voter sensitization in Upper River Region and the West Coast region. This group is impersonating as operating under the authority of the IEC. They wear t-shirts bearing IEC logo and are purportedly engaging with chiefs and alcalos, warning them on electoral matters. This group is urged to desist from such actions immediately, failure of which legal action will be taken against. Impersonating is illegal and the Commission will not tolerate such. While the Commission recognizes the role of civil society organizations, their activity must be within the confines of the laws of the Gambia. The Independent Electoral Commission is mandated to conduct voter education pursuant to Section 134, subsection A of the Election Amendment Act 2015. However, it sometimes collaborates with stakeholders in the fulfillment of this mandate." The release concludes. Officials of the General Transport Union, formerly the Gambian National Transport Union, is embarking on a 5-day countrywide tour to meet stakeholders in the road transport subsector. The tour is meant to garner first-hand information from the road operators with a view to map out recommendations for improved and sustainable road transport system. Samuel Ba is with the delegation and sent in this report on the first meeting in Barra, North Bank region.
The Barra meeting is the beginning of a week-long tour organized by officials of the General Transport Union, formerly Gambia Transport Union. The aim is to dialogue with stakeholders in the transport subsector, such as traffic police, area councils, drivers and their apprentices, and even local authorities to better understand the transport challenges.
Fundamentally, just to hear their concerns. I think we hear most of the concerns here, but we advise them what we can do it together. I think some of them, after this meeting, most of them will benefit what used to happen with the police, the drivers, even the road users. So I think most of people learn much important issues here. So I think if they implement it, we see a positive impact in the road.
The role of the union is to control and manage transport services, which is perhaps becoming a major challenge with the rising number of road traffic accidents.
The most important message is road safety, message, because we all know the road transport is alarming in this country. As of now, we need to come together as a team to see how to minimize it. And number two, how to promote the free movement. Because Bara here, we see the garage is a little bit small, but the nature of the operation or the management is a little bit lack. We advise to sit as a team to discuss, to collaborate with the police to see how to enforce the free movement. And number three, the importance of the insurance. Because we see accidents happen, lives are involved, people are injured, but insurance are not compensating people. For them, because we show them in direction so that we can assist them, so that those victims can get something at the end of the day.
The community engagements in Bara, our first port of call, generated a lot of reactions as people shared their thoughts on what they believe could give birth to a sustainable transport subsector.
The concerns we have here, in the first place, the gas is tight up. Congestion. We have a lot of vehicles in the car park. So whenever the ferry lands or whenever the ferry anchors, when passengers alight from the ferry, it's always difficult to get out of the car park due to the fact that it's congested, it's just so congested. And secondly, drivers, if you come, your vehicle number is registered. Then if another person comes, that vehicle number is registered. So it's first come, first serve. Now you will see those who have just spent the night here, waiting for their turn. Okay, you will see somebody who just arrived and then start to pick some passengers and go. That's what we call Monday. You are loading while it's on your turn.
What then is the position of the union in addressing some of these challenges that this community and others have been faced with? Malik Mbuk is the union secretary general.
The number of accidents in this country, it's not only caused by drivers but also road users, mostly pedestrians. Everybody should know the codes on the road. You should know where the zebra crossing is, where should I cross, where should I not cross. Now we go back and write our report to the stakeholders. Our transport is a stakeholder issue. So we are going back to the stakeholders and relay the concerns of the road users and the drivers to them so that we can have an amicable solution.
The consultative engagement in Bara ended on a high note, with the various stakeholders pledging greater commitment to minimize road traffic accidents and advance the transport subsector. The talk continues. Samuel Ba reporting from Bara, North Bank region.
We will be back with the sports news right after this break, with the breaking news coming out in Senegal about the disqualification of the Gambia from the WAFU tournament.
Do come true.
Meet Rebecca, one of the top 8 finalists of the Be a Star series, from a schoolgirl to a famous star. She rocks with her brand new musical video, Be Famous and Successful, Be a Star of the Gambia. All you have to do is record a video of you singing your favorite song, not more than 2 minutes long. Send the video by WhatsApp to the following number, 2299944, using an African number. State your name and where you're from. Be a winner of a fully recorded album and $500,000. Africa Be a Star, your road to success.
So this is breaking news because the GFF delegation at the ongoing WAFU Under-17 football tournament has received a letter from the WAFU executive director that CAF has disqualified the Gambia from the sub-regional youth championship because some players failed the competition's MRI test. The Baby Scorpions have already played 2 matches in the tournament, losing to Senegal 4-2 in the opening game before bouncing back to beat Mauritania 2-0 in the second group game and keep their hopes of qualifying for the semi-finals. Well, for more on this developing story, we are joined live in our studio by Lamin Njase, the General Secretary of the Gambia Football Federation. Good to have you here, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
First of all, what has been I'm fine, thank you. First of all, what has been the reactions of the Gambia football after receiving this news?
Devastating. Quite surprised about it. Basically, as you noted, actually, we received a communique from the delegation that went to Senegal through the first vice president, who is the head of the delegation, Mr. Bakary Jammeh. That they received a letter from the WAFU Secretariat, they're the organizers, that CAF has disqualified our team, the U17 team, and that their results are also cancelled. Reasons that they put forward is that they failed MRI test. The letter didn't specify how many people failed this test, and it also didn't specify the names of the players that failed the test. But just to give a little background to the viewers, I think this is a very, very important issue for Gambians to know. Basically, before you participate in any under-17 tournament, unlike other junior tournaments, you must undergo through this MRI test. And Gambia, this time around, I'll tell you, we have tick all the boxes, if you like. Because prior to them traveling to Senegal, we did a preliminary MRI test, which was organized, because we have a machine at the RVH, which was organized by our own medical team. 40 of our players, 40 selected players were tested, and this was supervised by our own medical team. Out of the 24, because there is a bracket, there is a number that they have their own scientific ways of examining what is the closest to 17 or 16 or 14. So out of that 40, 24, then we 24 players were deemed eligible in our own assessment. Then we went to stage 2, and stage 2 is we have to at least invite a CAF, an independent body, in this case, CAF medical officer, qualified person, which we had to pay. We paid for the air ticket, we paid for her hotel. It's a lady from Ivory Coast who came and also supervised and directed the MRI test for these 24 players. Out of the 24, 13 were deemed eligible. So when the results came from Senegal, you cannot present 13 players, obviously, at a tournament. And then the coach has to, we sat down and looked at it and said, you know what, we have to go back and select new players, because we need to have at least 20 players. That's what we need to present.
Absolutely.
So we selected another 17 new players, different from these ones. And we went to schools. None of these players are playing in any league. And 17 was identified, and we contacted CAF again, for one, to identify a certified MRI testing center, and they identify Imagre Medical Center in Dakar. They identified or selected the doctor that's supposed to conduct the MRI test, and then we transported our players and the officials to Dakar to conduct this MRI test, because the Federation fortunes, what we spend in MRI alone is over $1 million just to get the MRI sorted. So I just want the audience to know, the viewers rather, to know, and the Gambian fans, of course, and the Gambia, the population, to know the effort that the Football Federation had, put in order to get this right. So when they went for testing for the 17 players, and this was conducted on the 7th, on the 7th, I just need to be specific. On the 7th and on the 8th, 24 players again were tested under CAF supervision. No, on the 16th rather, 17 players were tested under CAF supervision. Out of that 17 in Senegal, this is in Senegal, 12 were eligible, deemed eligible. So in a nutshell, CAF has certified 13 in the Gambia and 12 in Senegal.
Making it 25.
Making it 25. Out of the 25, we traveled with only 24. When the team arrived in Senegal on the 4th, prior to our first match with Senegal, that we got defeated, the team conducted another MRI test. They call it the tournament test. So that was the test that is conducted by the tournament organizers right there in Senegal. And again, it was out of these results, the results didn't come until today. The test was done on the 4th. It didn't come until today that we received this letter to say that our team has been disqualified because a player or players, we don't know whether it's one or two, no name mentioned, actually failed the MRI test, and that our vehicle. The Gambia Football Federation is not taking this lightly. We are definitely going to do something. To be more precise, we're going to protest.
Okay, we'll have to go for a short break, and when we return, the international news is up next.
Thank you.
Before we end this newscast, a recap of our top stories before we take leave of you. His Excellency President Adama Barrow has launched the Resilience of Organizations for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture project worth $80 million to boost agricultural production in the country. Well, after hours and hours of total internet outage, the second such massive interruption in a week, the Gambia's internet connectivity is back on the global grid. Minister Ibrahim Silla spoke to GRTS about the internet outage. The Independent Electoral Commission has met lawmakers at the National Assembly and the Ministry of Finance to discuss preparations for the elections. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare on Tuesday observed the International Day of Zero Tolerance on FGM. And in sports, the Gambia's under-17 men's football team has been disqualified from the WAFU tournament underway in Senegal by CAF for failing the competition's MRI test, according to the African football governing body. But the Gambia Football Federation said it will appeal the discussion. Protesters in Myanmar have staged a fourth day of demonstrations against the military coup and the ousting of the civilian government a week ago. With that, we come to the end of this newscast. Many thanks for watching, and please enjoy the rest of our programs.
Hello! There's a new update from your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell.
For all of you that have struggled to buy cash power beyond $7,000, AfriCell has done it again. The limit to buy cash power is now up to $30,000. Oh yes, $30,000.
Buy all the cash power you want from your AfriMoney account by dialing *777#.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
It's an amazing offer. AfriMoney just got way better. The threshold for cash in and cash out on your AfriMoney has been increased.
Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 30,000. Meaning, your AfriMoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
like to express my warmest welcome to you all. My name is Ibrahim Sisao. I'm the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, and also the chair of the ceremony. Your Excellency, as we launch the biggest ever agricultural project in the country, I cannot but show feeling of contentment for today's accomplishment. The Roots project, as we call it, should be a game changer. We just need a bit of commitment and the right attitude. Your Excellency, I know you have a keen interest in agriculture, and that is aptly demonstrated today. Taking time from your busy schedule to attend this launching is a testimony of your commitment to the sector. Myself and my team, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, we are ready for the agricultural revolution, and we want to be very accountable. And indeed, we want to be accountable to everyone, including the farmers. For this, Your Excellency, we need your support. We invite Your Excellency to once in a while move to the field and check over our interventions. There were several similar projects before, and therefore there is ample history we can use. History tells us that horticultural production is constrained by poor rural finance policy, lack of access to market, inadequate processing and marketing facilities. History tells us that a lot of investment were made on agricultural equipment, but due to ill-conceived mechanization policy, agricultural mechanization is still limited, and thus the use of traditional production technology is still very common. History tells us that projects in agriculture operate on standalone basis and subject technical department to high staff attritions, with remaining staff constrained by inadequate incentive and conducive work environment, inadequate funding to carry out their mandate. History tells us that most project intervention went into extinction and infrastructure abandoned after the project lifespan, because the technical department are either not involved during the project implementation or are too weak to take up where the project left off. History tells us that significant part of GLF funding goes into counterpart fundings of projects, while insignificant sum is left for operation of technical department, leaving them completely incapacitated. History tells us that the biggest bottleneck we have is land development and poor production organization. Land being the medium in agricultural value chain, all input must be put in the right shape of the land. Land development has a lot to do with environment. You can't talk of agriculture without climate change. We need sustainable land and water management system. All this means that land must be properly developed and intensified. With these lessons in mind, Your Excellency, we will tirelessly continue to put the Roots project on the right track to bring the right results. Your Excellency, personal testimony from farmers indicate that yields are reduced. Most of the farms need rehabilitation. All this must be accompanied by appropriate technology like good tractors, combine harvesters, etc. But at the same time, output must be processed and timely. Your Excellency, I observed surge in interest of private sector in agriculture. Almost every other day, an investor will be in my office or that of my Honorable Minister. We must therefore quickly develop land and make it readily available for private sector investment. There is definitely correlation between proper land developed and yield. But we must address the issues around land tenure to be able to accommodate the private sector. As we sincerely agree that private sector will be the driving force for agriculture, which is also the position of the National Development Plan and other policy documents, we should not just pay a lip service to this statement. We must sincerely create an enabling environment for them to thrive, and they should have easy access to soft credit, access to extension service, and more importantly, unfettered access to appropriate technology and well-developed land. For this, we are ready to collaborate with the key ministries, finance, lands, and environment. Your Excellency, please allow me to appreciate effort through their dynamic tax team leader, our Sianta here present, and the program officer, Mr. Ibrahim Assise, for their many interesting contributions, both financially and technically. I would like to take this opportunity to call on them to continue working with us within the context of local realities. We should be collectively willing to adjust formula where we realize that the design does not speak to the reality. The key word here is results. The success of Roots projects to a large extent depend on the existence of a strong government institutions, specifically Ministry of Agriculture. Much as the advent of Roots has seriously weakened some of our key units, through staff attrition, like soil and water management, NARI, plant protection, to name a few, we are still convinced with strong collaboration and multitasking, the sector could still sail through successfully. And as a team leader, I'm ready to take that route. We are stronger as a unit with one common objective. And the sustainability depends on the well-coordinated activities within an established structure. This is possible and rewarding. A vibrant MOA would be able to pick up the baton where the project finally comes to an end, just like we have started doing with the NEMA intervention sites. At the end of the day, everything we do should speak to the National Development Plan and the Agricultural National Resource Plan. We sincerely hope to build on our fruitful partnership for many years to come. I want to thank all those who have worked hard to materialize this project, in particular, the Honorable Minister for her leadership, my predecessor, the former PS, Mr. Mbaijaba, CPCU coordinator, staff of the former NEMA project, and other technical staff at CPCU, and the entire SMT of the Ministry of Agriculture. At this point, Your Excellency, please allow me to appreciate one of the key architects of this project, who unfortunately is not here with us today. Mr. Gassama of blessed memory, even on his sick bed, was engaging me as to how we can make this project progressive. This is what defined the way Mr. Gassama lived his life. Your Excellency, just last week we launched the regional rice value chain, and we remembered another fallen hero in the name of Mr. Ansumana Jaju, the project director of the rice value chain until his demise. The work ethic of both gentlemen are unparalleled. We are proud to work with them. Your Excellency, finally we congratulate our newly appointed project director and the team of experts, Mr. Mamour Jain. I will tell you what I told the other project director. We have so much confidence in you, and we expect you to work through the established structure for purpose of sustainability. It is not about what you do, but how sustainable it becomes after your period of contract. Again, it is important to remind ourselves that significant part of this project is loan, which has to be paid. Expectations are high. We must collectively deliver as expected. There is no alternative. Thank you very much for your attention. Your Excellency, with this short opening remark, I would like to now call on the UN Resident Coordinator to give a remark.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. I am not Serafin Wakana. I'm standing in for her. My name is Dr. Desta Tiruna. I'm the WHO country representative. She is remotely working from home. She went for leave and she has some issues, but she cannot be physically present, so I have to stand in for her. So, but she has sent her message, and I'll read it through. First of all, I would like to recognize, the protocols, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, honorable cabinet ministers present here, high government officials present here, the United Nations systems, different agency representatives present here, Ms. Hawa, who is also the director for IFAD, who is present with us here. I would like to recognize all protocols, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the media, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first thank the government of the Republic of the Gambia and the IFAD mission under the overall leadership and coordination of Ms. Hawa Center, country director for the Gambia, for giving us this opportunity to speak at this gathering today at the launch of the resilience of the Organizations for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture project, which is known as Roots Project. On behalf of the UN family, I thank you for this laudable project. Let me start by recalling that the Gambia, as a country in transition since 2016, is faced with significant challenges related to food insecurity, malnutrition, migration, unemployment, and climate change. 62% of the population is poor, with 48% living below the poverty line, which is $1.25 per day. Agriculture, which is the main source of livelihood for approximately 70% of the population, contributes only to 24% of the GDP. In fact, rural poverty, food insecurity, and malnutrition are closely associated with low agricultural productivity, which affects most vulnerable groups, namely women and youth. Needless to say that the annual 3.5% GDP growth rate is insufficient to reduce poverty meaningfully. So the need could not be clearer. The Roots Project, whose objective is to improve food security, nutrition, and smallholder farmers' resilience in climate change and profitable income-generating activities and decent and sustainable employment in agricultural value chain, could not have come at a better time. Ladies and gentlemen, the creation of the Roots Project is a clear recognition that policies for effective consolidation of the achievement of the NEMA and previous IFAD projects need strong institutions to ensure their implementation, and that the key aspects of unlocking potential of modern value chain to drive progress on SDGs 1 and 2 is de-risking investment in the rural areas. The price for achieving SDG 1 and 2, notably the elimination of poverty in all its forms and hunger, meaning zero hunger, has been estimated at an additional US $265 billion per year until 2030. This very well indicates that not individual efforts, but collective action to coordinate the delivery of resources, knowledge, and policies is required as part of a systemic approach to overcome both poverty and hunger. The government of the Republic of the Gambia has provided great momentum to efforts and has committed to a stronger agricultural performance since the democratic transition from authoritarian rule. Through the resilience of Organizations for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture project, Roots, it has requested for support from IFAD to co-finance. The Roots project would be implemented in 5 regions, targeting 39 districts, which have been selected on the basis of indicators related to poverty, vulnerability, remoteness, quality, and scale of infrastructure, and harmonization with other donor-supported programs. The target groups for the project are mainly women, forming about 80% of the group, and 25% youth. Farmers, especially the poor and the small producers in the poorest areas, have been recognized to suffer from 3 primary sets of constraints that inhibits the development of their livelihoods: food and nutrition security and job creation. And these are namely: 1, low productivity related to poor irrigation infrastructure, inadequate production systems, and lack of access to appropriate technology, inputs, knowledge, and support services. And the second one is limited access to financial services, meaning agricultural credits and loans and markets. And the third one, vulnerability to effects of climate change. Drawing on the ongoing NEMA projects and other past projects offers relevant lessons that are incorporated into the roots design to bring about inclusive and sustainable development to smallholder to agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, the basis for alleviating poverty, hunger, and sustaining environment and building a stable and sustainable world where no one is left behind requires multi-sectoral coordination action. Partnerships are integral to the process of sustaining and inclusive transformation, but they have to be right kind of partnerships, meaning the ones that are sustainable, the ones that are inclusive, and the ones that are pro-poor. For partnerships are not just the end, but a means to the end. Thus, the Roots project will work with a wide range of government agencies, donor financing programs, NGOs, neighboring states, and increase the effectiveness of IFAD financed interventions. A strong partnership built by Roots with various partners, including the United Nations system, such as FAO and UNDP, will be the main implementation modality, complemented by outsourced national and international service providers. Furthermore, in terms of sustainability, target groups for the project are not only suppliers of produce, but also managers and guardians of the Roots project. Thus, if we want to bring about inclusive and sustainable development of smallholder agriculture, all actors need to be coordinated, and that includes the rural people themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, to achieve the SDGs, we will not only have to work together, but we also have to get to be innovative. We will need inclusive, proper partnerships that deliver results. By pooling not only resources, but knowledge and expertise, and backing it up with long-term commitments, we can build a sustainable future in which we all benefit. On behalf of the UN system in the Gambia, I wish to express our profound gratitude to the government of the Republic of the Gambia and IFAD for the continued partnership on the project. I wish you fruitful deliberations in the coming days, and I thank you for your kind attention. The end of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to rectify, the loan component of the project is about 20%. I did say that is significant, but in the context of the Gambia, it's still something we need to pay attention to. Now, I would like to call on the IFAD tax team leader to make a statement.
Mr. President of the Republic of Gambia, His Excellency Adama Barrow, Honorable Minister of Finance, and Economic Affairs, Honorable Minister of Environment, Climate Change, and Natural Resources, the Governor of the Gambia to IFAD, Her Honorable Miss Amin Fabouré, Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Ministers, representative of government institutions and civil society organizations, representative of UN agencies, IFD representative of farmer organization, dear permanent secretary and director, distinguished beneficiary and guests, dear colleagues, I want to seize this opportunity to wish all of you Happy New Year 2021 and thank you for joining us for the official launch of Root Project. Due to the outbreak and the quick spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, 2020 was a year of fear, uncertainty, doubt, but above all, a year of wherein each one of us has loved a beloved one, like our beloved director, Gassama. May he rest in peace. Amen. As you all know, agriculture is one of the main driving forces for economic growth, job creation for youth and women, and poverty reduction in the Gambia. 48.65% of poor rural Gambians depend on agriculture for their livelihood and income. The natural resources, which are the main assets of the rural poor, are constantly degraded. Over the next coming year, it's projected change of cereal yield, population growth, food import dependency, child malnutrition, and more of climate change and climate vulnerability if inadequate measures are not taken. These challenges are amplified by weak institutions and private service operators, high youth unemployment at 45%, out-migration, urbanization, low agricultural productivity, undiversified economy, limited access to resources, and low investment in the agricultural sector. Based on above, on December 2029, in support of the agricultural development policy of the government of Gambia, IFAD Executive Board has approved an 80 million project designed with an objective of improving food security, nutrition, and small farmer resilience to climate change. The resilience of Organization for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture Project, ROOTS. The name is an inspiration from the Gambia culture of courage, bravery, and resilience. It is also a way of acknowledging the Gambian legend Kunta Kinte, who as a slave has broken the chain of domination. My belief is that this name will inspire all of those who are involved in the delivery and to relieve the implementation process of the project. Because we cannot afford failing to deliver and to relieve our own people from poverty and make the agricultural sexy, a sector that will attract youth throughout the value chain. ROOT is a 6-year project funded with co-financing from Agence Française de Développement, AFD, GEF, OFID, the government of Gambia, and beneficiary. And just a point of correction, the project is highly a grant. The GEF component is fully grant, and the IFAD component is 80% grant. So the project in total has 4 million loan. The remaining are actually grant. The project will focus on upscaling NEMA achievement in the rice and vegetable value chain and will give special attention to key issues such as the targeting strategy to reach poor farmers, deepening partnership opportunities, project management, performance and oversight for effective and efficient delivery mechanisms in the government to enhance sustainability of benefits. I want at this point to thank all the co-financiers, AFD, GEF, OFID, for their respective contribution. A special thanks to NACOFAG, to the Women Cooperative, and the beneficiary at large. I encourage all of us especially the frontline squad, Mr. Jani, our newly recruited project director, and his team, to ensure that at the end of the 6 years of implementation, the answer will be yes, we did it. Because this is the only acceptable answer to ensure, as we have all committed to do, that rural community, especially women and youth, are not left behind. Honorable officials, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot conclude without expressing my big thank you on behalf of IFAD Regional Director, on behalf of IFAD President, and my own behalf, to the Honorable Governor, to the Gambia, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, UNCT colleagues, and implementing partners for their strong commitment to support IFAD operation in the country. Many thank you to His Excellency President Barrow for his leadership in making today possible. Thank you all for your kind consideration.
Thank you very much, Awa. I now have the pleasure to call the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs to make a statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Your Excellency, Mr. Adama Barrow, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, other colleague ministers present here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols respectfully observed. I am delighted to make a statement at the national launch of the agriculture project titled Resilience of Organizations for Transformation, Smallholders Agriculture, also known as ROOTS. This project is a true value added to the Gambia's vision for a green economy, and it builds on the gains of earlier agricultural interventions, whilst also learning lessons from the past great projects such as NEMA, LADEP, the Participatory Integrated Watershed Management Project, PUAM, the RFP, as well as Livestock and Horticultural Development Projects, LHDP. This historic event is also equally satisfying as it marks another significant milestone in the strong and time-tested partnership between the government of the Gambia and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. Having said that, please allow me to highlight that under the stewardship of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, the President of the Republic of the Gambia remains committed to addressing our national socio-economic challenges in a responsive, respectful, responsible, effective, and efficient manner. Leveraging on sustainable sectoral strategies, responsive fiscal policies, and robust international institutional development and citizens' engagement, this project will support targeted investments in infrastructure and the technical and organizational capacities of farmer organizations. It will particularly target youth, women, and other stakeholders along the rice and horticultural value chain. Furthermore, it is worth noting that political and economic relations with the Gambia's traditional partners, while cultivating and consolidating our collaboration with emerging and non-traditional partners. Your Excellency, the President, Honorable Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as the Gambia pursues its objectives of National Development Plan, NDP, 2018 to 2021, it is gratifying to note that the Roots project being launched today is aligned to and will promote several strategic pillars, particularly modernizing our agriculture and fisheries for sustained economic growth, food and national and nutritional security and poverty reduction, stabilizing our economy, stimulating growth, and transforming the economy, reaping the demographic dividend through an empowered youth, and making the private sector the engine of growth, transformation, and job creation. By the same token, critical enablers of the NDP that aligns well with the Roots project includes empowering the Gambian woman to realize her full potentials, promoting environmental sustainability, climate resilient communities, and appropriate land use. At the level of our international commitments, I am happy to confirm that this highly ambitious project is also aligned with the African Union's Agenda 2063 and 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Like the rest of the world, the Gambia has been badly affected by the coronavirus pandemic. COVID-19 took the country off its sustained growth path that it has been since 2017, with GDP growth recording a negative figure for the first time in 9 years. General economic activities have been negatively affected, resulting to less than anticipated revenue collections and increased expenditure. However, it is gratifying to note that the IMF has predicted global recovery in 2021 with a focus on economic recovery as the core of reform policy priorities for the upcoming years. At the home front, the Gambia is poised to formulate a COVID-19 recovery program by prioritizing the current National Development Plan through a process that will leave no one behind. Indeed, the resilient ethos which permeates the Roots project dovetails well with the strategic vision of the upcoming recovery program. With a total budget of $80 million on a concessionary funding basis, the launch of the Roots project could not therefore have come at a better time. Of this $80 million, IFAD, as the lead donor, is providing grant financing of $17.016 million, that is 21.3% of the project cost, as well as $4.25 million as a loan, that is only 5.3% of the project cost. Other financing partners for the Roots projects are the AFD, Agency Francine for Development, with a grant of $11.2 million, that is 14% of the total project cost. OPEC Fund for International Development with a $10 million loan equivalent to 12.5% of the project cost, and the Global Environment Facility JEP with a $5.3 million grant, that is 6.6% of the project cost. The government of the Gambia will provide counterpart funding valued at $5.4 million, that's 6.8% of the project financing, in a form of tax expenditure. Please allow me to state, Your Excellency, that this is part of the reform programs that the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, with your support, has been embarking on to ensure that most of the resources that we have been spending in a form of counterpart funding, in a form of giving grants and waivers, this is an innovative way that the Ministry of Finance, with the very special support from you, we will realize that most of this counterpart funding will be now history as we convert it in a very innovative way that will be our major contribution to projects. The project's beneficiaries, therefore, are also expected to contribute to the funding of the project mainly through the provisions of labor. That is also another innovative way. The chairman did mention revolution. I think at the beginning of the year, I did mention during my budget statement that the year coming and the years that were coming following those is both transformational and revolution. Revolution in the sense that with the limited resources we have as a country, it is now time to innovate. Innovate by way of making sure that the little resources we have is invested mostly to the targeted populations who are the voiceless, who are the people that need the attention of government. And that is exactly the main agenda and focus of His Excellency the President of the Republic. This leaves a current financing gap of $26.2 million, which we anticipate will be covered by IFAD based upon satisfactory performance by all stakeholders. I, however, have the confidence in the capacity of the Ministry of Agriculture to deliver this to expectations. In particular, personally, I was very happy when I got the news that the selection of the project manager, who publicly, I think everybody knows him, very effective, very efficient, decent, honest, and wealth of experience coming to this project, I have no doubt that he will deliver. We will support you, Mr. Project Manager, be rest assured. At the level of the Ministry of Finance, the significance of the Roots project lies in its distinct potential to transform the country's macroeconomic landscape in the following area. By targeting 40,000 households across the country with an average household of 8, Roots will provide gainful employment for economic opportunities for up to 15% of the total population, particularly women and youth who forms the bulk of our population. By improving production and productivity of the country's staple food, rice, considerable savings will be made on our valuable foreign exchange through import substitution. By improving the quality and quantity of vegetables produced in the country, intersectoral linkages will be strengthened, particularly with the tourism sector as well as transport and industry sectors, again reducing imports, creating job opportunities, and saving value foreign exchange. The public-private partnership envisaged in the project will strengthen the role and capacities of the private sector and provide them with the valuable opportunities to grow. Finally, the envisaged involvement of the diaspora will channel much needed resources towards attractive and profitable investment opportunities as opposed to consumption. This is expected to significantly reduce the commercial cost of capital at the domestic level. Because of all these macroeconomic levers, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs will maintain a keen interest in the progress of the Roots project and will continue to provide the requisite support as and when needed. In conclusion, I wish to congratulate my cabinet colleague, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Madam Ami Fabure, and the entire staff of her ministry on this auspicious occasion of the national launch of the Roots Festival. Honorable Minister, congratulations for a job well done. I would also like to recognize two former permanent secretaries who are no more with the ministries, whose efforts in the negotiations, especially the financing terms, that Mr. Tambai Jabang, former agriculture PS, and also Mod Seka, former finance permanent secretary, who is now at the higher education. I think what it has revealed that the movement of these permanent secretaries will strengthen and build capacities. I think they have done a good job. Here you can see a project with almost a grant element that we have never ever witnessed in the history of this country. I think we wish you all the best, and then I once again congratulate everybody and wish you a successful implementation of the project. I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Finance, for those wonderful statements. Now I would like to call on the Honorable Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, all of the protocols duly and respectfully observed. It is with immense joy and satisfaction that I am associated with the auspicious occasion of the national launch of the Resilience of Organization for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture Project known as the Roots. I am especially delighted for the strong collaboration which exists between the Ministry of Agriculture and my ministry, being the two apex ministries whose commitments, roles, and responsibilities in the sustainable management and development of agriculture and natural resource sector are not only mutual but interdependent. Mr. Chairman, our two ministries have become a national showcase for synergy building, partnerships, and complementarity. Throughout the implementation period of the just ended NEMA-CHOSO project, the Ministry of Agriculture and my ministry have worked closely to realize key achievements under the project. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the support of the European Union, my ministry has collaborated strongly with the Ministry of Agriculture and other key stakeholders to develop a national climate change policy 2016-2025. The goal of the policy is to achieve the mainstreaming of climate change into national planning, budgeting, decision-making, and program implementation through effective institutional mechanisms, coordinated financial resources, and enhanced human resource capacity. The goal will be achieved by integrating community and ecosystem-based adaptation approaches to strengthen people's adaptive capacities and develop more climate-resilient livelihoods. Your Excellency, the Agriculture and Natural Resource Sector Policy 2017 to 2026 provides the framework for development of the sectors in the medium term. It is complemented by the Supplementary Agriculture and Natural Resource Policy focusing on natural resource subsector. For the information of this gathering, the two policies are on the verge of being amalgamated, and we are in the process of drafting the term of reference for a consultant to amalgamate the two supplementary policies to enable the ANR working group to have a tool to work with. In our bid to achieve zero hunger, in line with SDG 2, the government, with support from the United Nations country team, formulated the Gambia Zero Hunger Strategic Review 2017. Mr. Chairman, it is also gratifying to note that the focus of the IFAD COSOP 2019-2024 is well aligned with the National Climate Change Policy and all relevant sector policies and development frameworks under my ministry. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, today I wish to join Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, and all Gambians to welcome the Resilience of Organization for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture Project Roots, which is a follow-up to the NEMA-CHOSO project with the overarching goal to improve smallholder farmers' food and nutrition security and resilience to climate change. The Roots project will mainstream environment, climate, gender, and nutrition in its interventions. Around key production sites, the project will invest in ecosystem preservation activities such as rehabilitation of 1,300 hectares of mangroves and 1,400 hectares of community forest. And Mr. Chairman, this is in line with the bond challenge that the Gambia should restore over 400,000 hectares of both terrestrial and mangrove ecosystems. So this project will complement the efforts of the Minister of Environment to achieve this multilateral environment agreement. Roots will also promote the system for rice intensification, which is a rice production technology which guarantees the highest yield with low carbon dioxide emissions, decrease application of chemical fertilizer and water use. Mr. Chairman, this will also help us to achieve our obligation under the nationally determined contribution submitted to the UNFCCC, that the Gambia has the intention to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 2030 by 44.5%, which is a target for us to achieve. So this project would also enhance our ability as a country to achieve those international obligations. These activities will be delivered along with structured sensitization and capacity development initiatives to empower and strengthen climate resilience and productive capacities of beneficiaries and stakeholders. As you implement the Roots project, I encourage the project management, the project implementation team to keep close eye on the agriculture and environment indicators as the Gambia seeks to, one, ensure timely and accurate reporting on our Paris Agreement commitment to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Two, continually update the greenhouse gas inventory, of which agroforestry and mangrove restoration subcomponents of the Roots project will be of utmost importance. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I hasten to commend the partnerships between IFAD and the Gambia, which has endured and continues to grow stronger since 1982. I also wish to thank the co-financiers of the project, the Agence Française de Développement, AFD, the OPEC Fund for International Development of it, and the Global Environment Facility for their continued support to our national cause. I wish to conclude my statement by enjoining on all technicians, projects, and programs within the ANR sector, that is the agriculture and natural resource sector, to collaborate more closely, identifying opportunities for synergy and sharing key challenges and lessons in the course of the work. This way, we can maximize resource use efficiently and impact on the lives and the livelihood of the people of the Gambia, especially vulnerable women and youth, who are by no accident the key targets of this project. Mr. Chair, I cannot conclude my statement without thanking my colleague Minister of Agriculture for having the zeal and courage to engage other partners to have such a project in the Gambia. And equally, I would also want to thank His Excellency the President, because I remember at one point he himself was personally involved in this project. So Your Excellency, thank you very much for your foresight and the leadership that you have provided for us to move the Gambia to another level. On that note, Mr. Chair, I wish the new project and his team success in the implementation of the project, and I would want to reiterate and assure my colleague Minister of Agriculture that the modality that we have employed in the implementation of the NEMA CHOSO project, we will continue to collaborate and cooperate with your technical team to achieve the objectives set under this important project. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Environment. I now have the pleasure to call the Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, my colleague honorable ministers present here, the Secretary General and the Head of Civil Service, the Secretary to the Cabinet, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I said a big good morning to you all. It gives me a great pleasure and satisfaction to say a few words on this important national launching of the resilience of organizations for transformative smallholder agriculture project, popularly referred as Roots Project. Before proceeding, allow me to appreciate the presence of His Excellency President Adama Barrow. In spite of his busy schedule, Mr. Barrow presence here today is no doubt a significant importance of the Roots Project to the Gambian in general, and the agriculture sector in particular. His Excellency, thank you very much for being here, for supporting the agriculture sector, for supporting us to have this magnitude of this project. That's the $80 million project from IFAD. This is because of your leadership. So thank you, His Excellency, President Adama Barrow, because this $80 million project will address a lot of gaps in agriculture. Mr. Chairman and my able permanent secretary, the government of the Gambia has prepared the Gambia National Agriculture Investment Plan, we call it GNIPE, as the country's main investment framework for agriculture development in the medium term for the period of 2019 to 2026, situated within the context of the African Union's Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, we call it CADEP. The GNIPE aims to increase food and nutrition security at household level, including for vulnerable households, in support of national goals for poverty reduction, improved livelihood. The GNIPE 2 is focused on the following priority pillars. Number 1, production and value chain promotion of the following: food crops and vegetables, livestock husbandry and pastoralism, fisheries and aquaculture, forestry and the environment. In addition to the production and value chain promotion, the GNIPE also consists of the following pillars. Number 1, food and nutrition security, resilience, and the social protection. Number 2, promote good governance of the whole agriculture and the natural resource sector. It should be noted that all these pillars are duly reflect of the national development objectives of the Gambia government's national blueprint, the National Development Plan 2018-2021, wherein the government has committed itself to a stronger performance of the agriculture sector. His Excellency, today we are here to witness the launching of the Roots Project, whose objectives are squarely situated within the GNIPE and linked to the stated objective of our National Development Plan. The overarching goals of the Roots Project is to improve food security, nutrition, smallholder farmers, resilient to climate change in the Gambia. The project development objectives is to increase agricultural productivity and access to markets for enhanced food security and the nutrition and resilience of the family farm and farmer organizations. To achieve its objectives, the project will support targeted investments in infrastructure and the technical and organizational capacity of farmers' organizations, particularly youths and the women, and other stakeholders along the rice and the horticulture value chain, consistently making particular use of proven climate-smart technologies. Roots will also scale up achievement registered by NEMA CHOSO project while building synergies with other partners who gear towards increasing climate change resilience and value chain development. The approach will be based on 1. Consolidation of NEMA investment. 2. Sustained investment and support to women organizations, youth producers, and farmer organizations. 3. Supporting value chain interaction platforms to enable public-private producer partnerships. 4. Better access to financing. 5. Mainstreaming environmental and the climate, gender and the nutrition in the interventions. 6. Project management and delivery mechanism to improve performances and enhance sustainability of benefits. And as my colleague, the Honorable Minister of Finance has indicated, the total cost of the project is $80 million to be implemented over a period of 6 years, effect from 1st January 2021. I would therefore like to join him in registering our pro forma gratitude to IFAD, French Development Agency, Jeff, through my colleague Minister of Environment and Climate Change, and OPIC Funds for International Development, we call it OFID, for partnering with the government of the Gambia to provide the funding for this important project. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to turn to the significances of the Roots project and its impact from a national context. Firstly, Roots will be implemented in all 5 administrative regions of the country, covering at least 39 districts across the 6 agricultural regions. These are areas within the highest poverty rate and most vulnerable to climate change. Secondly, the project will directly benefit 40,000 households, involving about 320,000 people. The primary targets are smallholder farmers, predominantly women farmers, female and male youth farmers from the age of 18 to 35 years old, farmers and entrepreneurs involved in cooperatives and SMEs engaged in commercialization and value addition. His Excellency, the targeted population for this project is very important. That's why we have this age, because the youthful age from 18 to 35, they are very active and the population is very high. So this is a very good chance for the youth of the Gambia. It is expected that 80% of the direct beneficiaries will be women farmers and 25% will be youth farmers. And as part of its inclusive approach, the project will also engage people with disabilities in the most appropriate segment of the selected value chain. Such is the national importance of the Roots project to the agriculture sector that a good chunk of my trusted staff of the Ministry of Agriculture are being deployed to the project, following an independent recruitment process conducted by international firm. In this regard, I wish to task the project director and his team with the implementing partners to work extremely hard to realize the objectives of the project and on timely delivery. Because it's because of you, NEMA project, the previous project, that's why we are able to have this Roots project. The NEMA project, it was successful. So project director and the team, I have to tax you. Without any intention to scare you all, please note that expectations from the Roots project are higher. I trust in this capacity as a professionalism of yourself and wish to assure you of my ministry support. His Excellency, in concluding my statement, allow me to acknowledge the critical role IFAD has played in the realization of the Roots project, for which I would like to single out Ms. Awa Sienta, the IFAD Country Director, for her support and the team. I wish to also use the opportunity to thank the former project support unit of the NEMA CHOSO, key partners and the beneficiaries for their commitment in realizing the level of performances we have witnessed. It was the impressive achievement recorded by NEMA CHOSO that motivated the design of the Roots project. I salute the late project director, Mr. Momodu El Gassama, for his stewardship in delivering on the objectives of NEMA CHOSO. May Allah continue to grant peaceful rest to his soul while enriching his blessing to his family. Finally, I wish to congratulate the Gambia farmers, women and the youth on the arrival of the Roots project. I encourage you, especially the youth of the Gambia, to take full advantage of what the project offers to transform your lives and the livelihood. To the women farmers, I thank you for your unflinching support and the effort and the commitment to ensure food security, nutrition, income, and also in a country at large. On each day, you brave the scorching sun and drenching rains at the field to produce the rice and the vegetables we consume in this country, working hard with the undermining effect of climate change. The Roots project is finally here to strengthen your resilience like no other project in this country. Finally, I wish to thank once again the board, the president of IFAD, the senior management team, and the staff of IFAD for the lead role in designing and financing the Roots project. I thank our development partners, OFID, Jeff, AFD, for their financing contribution, that's the co-financing of this project. To my colleague at the Ministry of Agriculture, that's my permanent secretary, the present permanent secretary, and my former permanent secretary, Mr. Mbai Jaba. I think His Excellency, I have to thank P.S. Jaba for his unflinching support during the formulation of this project. So P.S. Jaba, thank you very much for your support. I will also thank the CPCU and the team in the name of Abulai Toure for their support during the formulation of this important project. Finally, I have to thank the Ministry of Agriculture, the entire staff. I have to congratulate you on reaching this very important milestone, the official launching of the $80 million project. I said a big thank you to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
It's not the size or the amount of the money, it's the commitment of the head of state that you have the farmers in your heart. We know that very well. It has been clearly manifested in your the tour that you have just concluded. All that we do is to tell you that we will continue to pray for you. I know you have this country in heart, and you will have the support of God, and you have the support of the people in this country. Thank you very much. We are happy to share. We are happy to share the same table as a farmer leader in the history of this country. And that shows that you are a leader that wants to transform this country. And you cannot transform this country if you do not transform these farmers. Wherever you come from, everything goes out of fashion except food. We all need food. And that is what you stand to provide for this country. And thank you, Mr. President. Secondly, I want to disclose that the inclusive approach of IFAD, this project that we are launching here, has been an inclusive approach by IFAD team and also the Ministry of Agriculture. The entire consultation in the design of this project was led by farmers. It was not a ministry-led thing. The consultant came and was talking to the farmers directly. That gave birth to a project of this size, is $80 million in the history of this country. It all boils back to you as the head of this country, and we pray, we continue to pray for you. Your Excellency, the elegance of my own thoughts and interpretation of everything, I need to mention my deep sense of appreciation to give a vote of thanks on behalf of the farmers and farmer associations. Your Excellency, a special mention to Honorable Minister Ami Fabre, being the catalyst that inspired farmers to do better, to produce more. This year's performance of the agri-sector is a clear manifestation of the efforts and commitment of the Ministry of Agriculture and the entire staff of the ministry. Your Excellency, this Roots project has been earmarked to build on the best and successful stories of the NEMA, but equally, it is going to provide institutional strengthening and capacity building for epic farmer organizations in the history of the projects. This is the first time that farmers' secretariats have been strengthened, both in terms of finance and human resources, for the first time. The project is also going to look at agricultural productivity, enhancement, infrastructure development, upgrading and scaling of community vegetable gardens, private sector engagement, like the 4 P's I mentioned, agricultural land development. I would want to disclose, Your Excellency, IFAD. NACOFA is grateful for the support. All this would have been impossible without the financial support of IFAD. We recognize with gratitude their significant contribution. This is a unique opportunity, and I promise that you will not be disappointed by the support you provided to farmers through NACOFAC. Honestly, I have no other strong words to express my gratitude to Madam Awasienta, the country director of IFAD Roots and the NEMA, for her commitment. Here is a lady who has Gambia in her heart. Here is a lady who wants to transform this country. Here is a lady who looks farmers as her family. Your Excellency, the Roots project is going to address the impacts of climate change. It is also going to address by building the resilience of the farmers to respond to climate change, Mr. President. Your Excellency, in addition to the Ministry of Agriculture, we acknowledge with gratitude the support provided by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Environment, the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, because this was a consultative process, and equally they have all played their role, and that gave birth to what we are all here to witness today. Well, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman of the occasions, gentlemen, launching cannot happen overnight. Wheels started turning around a week ago. This requires planning and a lot of follow-ups. Thank you, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, for leading a team comprised of never-tiring staff of your ministry, this Central Project Coordinating Unit, and the Roots Project team for a job well done. Without their teamwork, very little would have been registered in the preparation for the launching. The team know their jobs and are result-oriented. As no program can become successful with a single unit, so I extend my big thanks to the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Livestock, the Director General of NARI, the Director General of Seed Secretariat, and the Director General of GILMA. You have all played your quota, and we appreciate you very well. On behalf of the farmers, farmer leaders, that's my board members, organizations, board members, I sincerely thank everyone for your time and presence in this launching today. I wish everyone is safe and travel back home, and we hope very soon we will be together in the project implementation. By conclusion, I must say that, Mr. President, we will want you to please maintain our minister. Yeah, because you see, it has always been said that you don't change a winning team. Yeah, because if a team is winning for you, you can see what happens to Manchester a few days ago when we brought in this rotational policy.
we were easily being defeated by a struggling team. And I am sure the President of this Republic of this country would not do that, would not bring in any rotational policy that is going to affect the performance of these projects. I urge you, President, for the fact that, please, with all respect, we are behind this minister, and we will continue to be behind this minister. And we will also encourage you to maintain this, the winning team, and which is captained by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sow. I think now we come to almost the tail end of this ceremony. It is my singular honor now to call on His Excellency the President to do a launch statement. Your Excellency.
Honorable members of the National Assembly, distinguished representatives of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, development partners, senior government officials and service chiefs, representatives of our farming communities, and other actors of the agricultural value chains, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and honor that I join you all for the official launching of the Resilience of Organizations for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture Roots project, which is an $80 million US project funded by the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and a number of other partners. There is consensus that the agriculture sector is the backbone for sustainable rural development and wealth generation in the Gambia. With this conviction, my government recognizes agricultural development and modernization as the gateway for employment creation and poverty reduction in rural Gambia. We are grateful, therefore, to our development partners, especially IFAD, and all other stakeholders, for joining us on the noble mission and endeavor to significantly increase food and nutrition security, create employment, and reduce poverty in our communities. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am aware that the challenges facing the agricultural sector are diverse and complex. These challenges have been amplified further by the negative effects of climate change and its threats to livelihoods. The Gambia is among the countries that are most vulnerable to the effects of climate change. In recognition of this, the government is fully committed to supporting and promoting initiatives for climate change adaptation and resilience. Furthermore, we appreciate the importance and potential of sustainable agricultural value chain development in fostering growth within the agriculture sector. Consequently, we will continue to prioritize and invest in agricultural land and infrastructure development, agricultural machinery, post-harvest and processing equipment, storage facilities, and related value addition and market access initiatives across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, we should remind ourselves that the Roots project specifically targets women and youth, for effective and profitable participation in rice and vegetable value chains. This is highly relevant to our development strategy as contained in the National Development Plan 2018-2021. Knowing very well that the female population in the Gambia is at the heart of these important value chains. We welcome initiatives and projects that ensure that the women have the requisite capacity and resources to improve their lives and livelihood skills. I challenge and encourage all hard-working and vibrant women and youth farmers to take full advantage of the opportunities offered by the Roots Project as a life-changing vehicle to upgrade their economic status. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, aside from the women, the youth of the country have a central role to play in national development. I believe strongly that they hold the key to the future. With their active participation, the national targets set for agricultural growth and our overall development goals have a greater chance of success within their timelines. To realize this, we encourage the youth, as always, to broaden their participation in development enterprises. These are numerous prospects in the agriculture sector for the women and youth alike to improve their lot and contribute more to the country's GDP. All of us should tirelessly hammer this message home. The Roots Project, together with other development initiatives, offer significant openings for them to perform optimally as champion of development and economic growth. Employment offered through the Roots Project target these key segments of the population to make them viably dynamic, vibrant, and economically active. I trust that they will join this rural and agricultural development trend that is taking off today. Honorable Ministers, National Assembly members, distinguished guests, I cannot conclude without echoing my appreciation of the continued support and engagement of IFAD and our development partners. I kindly request the IFAD team present here to express our heartfelt gratitude to the President and senior management team of IFAD for their long-standing and steadfast support to the government and the people of the Gambia. We are thankful. My Cabinet and the National Assembly deserve commendation for swiftly endorsing and ratifying this worthy initiative. In particular, the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs and the Minister of Agriculture, who doubled as the Governor of IFAD, did well to defend the ratification of the project. Well done, Minister. And I thank you also for inviting me. I think this is the first time I'm attending a program after the launching of this very beautiful building. Thank you. I urge the relevant line ministries and partners to support the implementation process with the necessary rigor, effectiveness, and commitment in the interest of the nation. Please be assured of government support at all times. Finally, I acknowledge with appreciation the thousands of farming families across the land for sustaining our trust and motivating our development partners to invest in the country's agricultural value chains. Keep up the momentum. It is now my pleasure to declare the resilience of the Organization for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture officially launched. God bless Gambia, and I thank you.